everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Britt. If you are new here, I am a healer, astral girly, Jackie of all trades, owner of the Power Passion LLC. If you're trying to book with me, link is in the description box. Before we start the video, make sure to like the video because I already know you're gonna like it. Just go ahead and press that like button so I know that you all are still tuning in. Okay, I know y'all tuned in, but I want to know by seeing them likes. And if you continuously see me popping up on your timeline, just go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead, Bookie. It's a safe space. All right, so let's get into this video. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about my journey healing through limerence. Limerence is a thing that kind of occurs due to childhood PTSD. My hope is that you all are able to learn more about yourselves through my experience. Let's get into it. Hey! So first things first, what is limerence? I like to call it the OCD of love. Like, it is an obsessive, compulsive thing you do when you attach to people. There are 3 phases in limerence. The first one is the attachment, the second one is the reality hit, and the third one is the deletion. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through all of these phases of limerence. So my background, my first bout of limerence happened when I was about 17. I did not realize what it was. I did know I felt a bit crazy, but I kind of just dismissed it because throughout most of my life I would be a monogamous relationship girly, so I didn't really have time to be in limerence with people I'm in a relationship with. I've been in a relationship every single year since the 6th grade up until I was 22. Rain, sun, or shine, I was gonna get a boyfriend. But my first bout of limerence was with somebody that I had to see when I went to church. And then the next time that I experienced limerence, it was with people I was dealing with 3 years ago, essentially, because I finally became single after years and years and years of relationship after relationship. I became single in 2021. My brain thought that I was going to bounce back like I always do. I always find a man. But I no longer had the crutch of being in school and being in proximity to people. So I was exposed to people that would be on the internet. And that became my obsession. When it first started happening, I just believed that, you know, this is just how deeply I feel. I blamed it on being a lover girl until in 2022, I had been through about 10-15 different limerent batches within that 1 year. And it completely damaged my self-esteem, my sense of self, my self-worth. Girl, it was in the garbage. I didn't know who that lady was, and I didn't trust myself. So I said, okay, I'm going to be celibate. I'm not going to talk to nobody, get men away from me kind of thing. And I really wasn't dealing with what was happening because I didn't really know what it was. I didn't have a word for it. I knew I wanted to go to therapy, but like I just didn't. So I was just in that kind of phase and trying to figure it out for myself. So I eventually found out what limerence was through TikTok, child. The word came on my TikTok and they were explaining it, and I was like, wait, I do that like a lot. And then I went on YouTube and I looked up Crappy Childhood Fairy, and I was like, wait, this is me. I'm relating to some of these stories. I said I should have wrote in. Did I write this in? That's exactly how I was feeling. When I would watch her channel, because her channel is really focused on limerence and childhood PTSD. So I was looking like, excuse me? I feel called out. And I knew like from that day, like I cannot go through this again. This was at the end of 2023. By the time I got to this realization, like I was like, I'm not going through this again. So let's talk about the 3 phases of limerence. The 3 phases of limerence. The first phase is going to be that obsession. You got your target. You're just, this person consumes you. Like they're in your mind, infiltrating. They take command over all of your emotions, all of your thoughts. your world just becomes them. Y'all, this would happen off of a first meeting. This would happen with people I never met. I had this grandiose delusion about. I had like I just saw them as not knowing, like, baby, you need to see yourself as but hey, I digress. We'll get into that, okay? So this first phase is really obsession. You create this big delusion about this person. They have this alternate version of themselves that you place in your head, and you kind of just project that out, and you truly believe in these delusions. You truly believe that this person is the person you said they are in your head, and it becomes very anxiety inducing. For me, when I would go through it, it would become very anxiety inducing, because it's like I've given this person will over me. Like, they can control my emotions. They're infiltrating my thoughts. And now I've become obsessive about what are they doing. I gotta watch them. I gotta see what they're doing. It was this huge dopamine hit for me to interact with them or interact with their social media and look at their stuff. Like, I created a narrative around them. It was given, we're getting married, this is my man, he's going to spoil me, take me on trips around the world. That's how my delusions would be. He gonna send me money. We gonna fall in love, we gonna get married and have kids. How does that last name sound together? Ooh. Wedding bells, wedding bells. But I would especially like focus on like thinking about what dates will go on, even though this person never asked me on a date, or I might not have ever spoken to this person a day in my life. I'm thinking about like us traveling together and going on dates. Like, girl, you don't know this man. But in this phase, it was like I couldn't turn the thoughts off. Like, I tried, and I couldn't turn the thoughts off. The thoughts kept going. I would be intentionally trying to be like, you know, let me not worry, but I got that worry in the back of my head. That worry is still on me. I feel anxiety. I felt like a cloud was on my head, a cloud of obsession. It was a nasty feeling. And I would just keep falling into limerence. I couldn't get away. But there's no shame about it. I needed to experience that. I needed to have that experience so that I can come up here and teach y'all. So yes, the second phase of limerence is that reality hit. This is usually the soul breaking. It is a soul breaking experience. And it's crazy because you don't know this person, and all of a sudden you feel like you're going through a heartbreak because the reality hits that this person is not the delusion I've created in my head. And it feels like every rejection you've ever experienced in your life culminated in this one instance, and that's exactly what it is. It's almost like my brain thinks I'll never be able to love again. Love is not in the stars for me, kind of thing. That's how it kind of felt like. But I never had those thoughts, but that's how it felt. It felt like love was non-existent for me. It existed in my head, but it could never translate outside to my 3D reality. And it was very heart-shattering. And I would usually fall into a depression after that, and I would be self-loathing sometimes, you know, because the self-esteem was clearly not in the room. It's very clear the self-esteem was not in the room with us. But the reason this second phase occurs is because the initial wound in our childhood is being stabbed, essentially. It's like, hey, we're back, we relive that painful childhood experience, all because of this one trigger that this significant other or this person outside of us who we don't even know didn't live up to our fantasies of them. We relive the disappointment of our childhood. You are re-experiencing those same emotions, and that's why it feels so intense, because the more you get into these situations, the more it builds on that wound. The more that wound festers, like, it's bad. And then the last phase of limerence, my favorite phase, hallelujah, deletion. Deletion. It's actually a little scary when you think about it. Like, in this phase, you essentially move on like nothing happened. Nothing happened. You don't know nothing. You completely forget this person even existed, and you go on about your life. And y'all, when I was going through the idea of this video, I had to like kind of look back and see like what was going on. Like, y'all, I was counting how many people I had fell into limerence with. And I was like, oh yeah, it was only like 2 or 3 that year. And then I finally got the memories to start coming back. And I was like, wait, I forgot these men existed. I had probably 8 more I counted. Like, wait, there was this guy and then there was that guy. I forgot they existed. And then the crazy thing is, I'll look back at these men and be like, oh, kind of ugly. Like, I'm not even attracted to these men. Like, I lose total attraction for these people once I get out of limerence. And it's probably because of the disgust I have for the limerence. I'm probably projecting my disgust onto their face. So, hey, it works for me. But yes, those are all the 3 phases of limerence. Obsession, reality check, that reality hit, and then deletion. That man is gone for good. And how long you stay in these phases is going to depend on who you are and how you get down. So let's get into how I healed that. The first thing I had to do, I got my notes, okay? The first thing I had to do was really have this conversation with myself. Like, what got you here? Like, what was the trauma? What happened that you have such a wounded relationship with men? For some people, their wounded relationship may be with women. So yes, the first thing I had to do was say like what got me here. And I had to be very clear without any judgment of myself and trying to beat myself up about what I experienced, or trying to say, oh, you know, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. No, it's that deep because this keeps recurring in your life. So it is that deep. We can't ignore it. So my CPTSD was a father wound. It was the suppression of my emotions. I was very limited in emotional expression. If it wasn't happy, I wasn't doing it. And this was because I believed that people will be mean to me if I express my negative sentiments, my negative emotions to them. I felt like people would judge me or invalidate my feelings or invalidate my experience. I felt like I would be disregarded if I expressed my emotions. And in that same sense, I started disregarding my own emotions and suppressing my own emotions and not being open to dealing with any of my negativity. So then it just kind of just stayed in me without me really being conscious of how negative I was. And let me just say this for anybody who deals with people who invalidate your feelings, anything like that. What happened to you doesn't need to mean anything to the people who hurt you. It doesn't need to mean anything to them, but it means something to you. So you need to validate that. You need to be okay with that. No matter how big, how small, don't try to say, oh, you know, compare your experience to other people. Be like, oh, you know, I didn't have that bad. I didn't. Like, stop all that. Validate it. Just validate it. You're not here to judge it and put it on scales of who had it worse and stuff. 2 things can exist at the same time. Yeah, somebody got it worse out there, but you still had it bad. So what does somebody else's bad have to do with your bad? Oh, okay. Yeah, let's get into it. The next step. Okay. The next step that I had to do was be honest and ask myself, what was the thing you needed most in that time period of your life, in your childhood? What was the thing you felt like you were lacking? And the first thing that came to mind was love. I boo-hoo cried when I came to that realization. And I cried uncontrollably about that because I truly, in my childhood, I did not feel loved. And that was specifically from my father. I did not. I was very confused for a long time. Not even confused. I thought he resented me. I genuinely did. I thought he hated me. He resented me. I couldn't get past that. For a very long time, I couldn't get past that. I resented him for a very large part of my life. I probably just now stopped. Girl. So yes, once I boiled it down that it was love, it was the love I needed, the next job was give it to myself. It's love that you want, it's love you gonna get. And that's what I did. I did that. I gave it all to me. And it took a while because love is so many things. I really encourage you all to look into the book True Love. I'm going to attach it, and I'm going to tell y'all to just look on my Amazon storefront. The link is in the description box, and you can see that book. That book is like less than $7. It's such a good book, and it really embodies what love is. It speaks of love in terms of relationships with people, but it really can tell you how to love yourself. If you are confused, you look at that book and do what that book says for yourself, period. But yes, I clarified that love was the thing I needed. So that required me to look deeper into what does love look like to me. Like, I didn't really have a firm idea. So I really had to ask myself, what do you think love looks like for you? And can you do that for yourself now? So what love looked like for me was emotional acknowledgement, having the space to fully express myself without any judgment. It felt like feeling understood, feeling heard. So I had to learn to do that for myself. And that probably was the longest phase. Like, I feel like I just now got to that point where I know how to do that. And I started this journey in November, but now I'm fully embodied in it. I can actually say, like, I show up for myself and I actually love myself. And I put myself at the forefront of my decisions instead of being so caught up in how other people are treating me and how the world reflects back to me. I reflect myself to the world. And all of that required me to learn grace. Grace is so important in this process of healing. You need to have grace. You went through a lot. There were so many battles that I went through that I never spoke on. I didn't have the words for those battles. I wasn't equipped to deal with my emotions. So limerence became a product of that. I had to just accept I went through what I went through and be okay with that. No judgment. And I let those experiences exist, but I've learned to no longer identify with them. And that's really what you gotta push yourself towards. That's the goal, to no longer identify with these experiences. And I learned to find gratitude in the bad experiences I went through, because I know that those experiences brought me to myself. They brought me to me, the me I am today. They created who I am today and who I can potentially become because of what I experienced. And that's essentially what alchemy and transmutation is. So I did a pretty good job. Pat on my back, girl. I know you ate that, you ate that. But I understand that I needed those experiences, because if those experiences weren't that loud to me, I might not have gotten to this point. It was like Spirit, God was trying to send a message to me, and it wasn't getting through to me until it became a big thing. That's when it was like, okay, I need to move. I need to do something. And the way that things occurred was the only way that could get my attention. So the biggest step for me was, of course, giving myself the love that I needed, but also I had to reparent myself. I had to reparent my inner child. I had to spend time with my inner child. I physically saw my inner child as an entity outside of myself. I visualized her. I spoke with her. I cried with her. I spent time with her. I gave her love. I gave her encouragement. I gave her everything that I could. And I essentially had to go through her to experience permanent change. My inner child was my doubt. My inner child was my fear. So I had to fully just accept her as she was and fully just embrace her with love, because that's all she wanted. That's all she wanted, and that's all she deserves. So I had to be that for her. And that is when I started experiencing permanent change. You know you have changed when you react differently. Another thing that may help you is to learn your attachment style. Look into how to heal it, go to therapy, all that stuff. You can even get the therapy off of YouTube. I cannot lie. YouTube was my therapist. God was my therapist. God directed me to the right videos on YouTube. My higher self became my therapist. Like, it just worked out. It just worked out very well. All right, so the next thing I would suggest in terms of healing limerence, please work on your self-esteem, your self-concept, how you view yourself. It is so important. You need to see yourself for the star you are. You need to see how important you are, how loved you are, how amazing you are, how truly, truly precious you are. You are meant to be here, but you won't know that unless you see that in yourself. You have to learn to see that light in you. You are perfectly made under God, okay? Remember, you are the star. And to me, you are the star. Show still. Oh. You have to start valuing yourself and truly see yourself more valuable than the people outside of you, more valuable than other people's opinions. You need to put yourself on a pedestal. I mean that. I mean that. And don't let people shame you out of that. The reason why people hate confident people is because they see how powerful you are. And because they see your power, they hate to see how weak they are. They hate to feel small. So because they feel small, they want confident people to feel just as small as them. You need to get past all of that. Whatever you heard about confidence, selfishness, throw it away. It's gotta go, because you need to be important to you. You need to become the parent you need. So let's say you needed compliments more growing up. You needed somebody to tell you how good and beautiful you are so that you can know how good and beautiful you are. Well, you gotta do that for yourself. You have to, and you have to value that opinion of yourself. To say that, you know, because I said I'm pretty, that means I'm pretty. Because I said I'm gorgeous, that means I'm gorgeous, okay? You have to be the one that sets the standard for yourself. You are the setter of all standards. Beauty standards do not apply to you. You are the beauty standard, okay? Okay? It gotta be like that. You have to become your standard. You have to be the highest of the high. And that doesn't mean I sit there and be like, oh, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. No, it's not an ego thing. My value has nothing to do with you. That's how it gotta be, okay? My value has nothing to do with you. I'm the cream of the crop. You can be the cream of the crop too, though. Me being the cream of the crop and the best of the best does not stop anybody else from being the best of the best. Two best of the best can be in the room at the same time. So you gotta get in that mode where I'm the best of the best. Period. For heterosexual women, you need to learn to decenter men and center yourself. And in that centering of self, you need to center God, because God is at the center of you. So if you're trying to get to God, you need to get to you. God's right there. You're trying to get to God, you need to get to you. Remember I said that. But you truly need to get to a point where you're so enveloped in your own world, nobody can tell you anything. Nobody can take you out of your world. Nobody can knock you off your pedestal. I realized that when I was in limerence, I had all of this love in me that I just kept trying to give out. I had all this love to pour out. None of it was going to me. So now I'm at that point where all of that love has to go through me first. I gotta get it first. And once my cup is overflowing, people are able to benefit from the full cup I have in myself. My existence is healing enough. I embody love. So if you're around me, you're just going to feel the love I have for myself, and it's going to pour out onto you, because my love is strong. Girl, I am a lover. I have a lot of love. I was made from love. So people are only able to get the overflowing love. That's it. You can only get overflow love. You're not gonna get no love from me if my cup is empty. I come first. I'm no longer pushing my boundaries, and that is a big thing. You have to get to the point in this journey. You have boundaries, but you have to set them and follow them as well. So for example, people will be like, the boundary is they're not gonna let people talk to them crazy. Meanwhile, they talk to themselves crazy. You in your head talking to yourself crazy. I'm not gonna let people doubt me or try to stop me. Meanwhile, you doubting and stopping yourself. The boundaries have to apply to you too, Bookie. Whatever boundaries you have, you got to follow them as well. I'm only gonna be around people who protect me and love me and acknowledge me. You have to protect you, love you, and acknowledge you. Simple. My self boundaries got strict. I was not playing with myself, and I would give myself so much grace though. This is recent though. I will say my grace is recent, and it has impacted me significantly on this journey. You got to have that grace with you, or you will get stuck in this self-deprecating, this judgment of yourself. I was stuck in that for a few months. I was stuck in that my whole life. What am I talking about? A few months. I was stuck in that for a long time, and I didn't realize what I was doing to myself, because I had gotten used to speaking to myself so rudely, so meanly, so militantly, like I got used to people talking to me like that, so I started talking to myself that way. But that time period is over. I don't do that no more. I love me real bad.
Bitch, I said you bad.
I love me real bad. And that comes to my next point. You have to learn to accept these negative emotions. Let them exist. Be okay with that. Any negativity that you are feeling, you gotta accept it. You have to accept the emotions, the rejections, the spiraling, like these negative thought loops. You just gotta be like, okay, you get to exist. I get to feel you. And once I feel you, okay, let's talk about it. That's how I am with myself. I'm like, once I feel it all, let's talk about it. And then I make sure to not identify with these negative things. I let those negative things exist, but I'm not going to take ownership and say, oh, this is mine, this is mine. You gotta see it as an entity, because that's what it really is. It is a negative entity that has placed itself in your body. And they don't want to die. They don't want to go nowhere. That's why every time you try to change, they try to grab you back down and pull you down. How dare you? How dare you move on without me? And it's just like, baby, it's okay. You get to feel how you feel, but I'm not gonna join you. That's how I speak to my demons. I'm not gonna join you, but you get to exist, and I'll love you regardless, because I'm not you. I'm not you. It's really that simple. I'm me. I get to decide who I am. There's nothing wrong. I'm happy. And you can't take that away from me. And guess what happens? Those negative entities be like, what? What? I told that thing I love you. Disarmed. Disoriented. They don't know how to respond, so they kind of just go away. And they'll try to come back, but through time, it gets less and less detrimental. But yes, understand that these negative emotions are here to tell you exactly what you need. If you feel anxious, it's your body saying, hey, I need stability. Give me more stability, and I'll give it to you. I feel uneasy. Well, I'm gonna give you that ease. Negative emotions will always indicate to you exactly what you need. They will always tell you what you actually want. And you gotta figure out how to give that to yourself. I had to get to a point where I realized that all parts of me want to be seen. The past parts, the negative parts, all parts of me want to be seen and heard and loved. Every single part of me needs love. I don't need to argue with her. I don't need to be mean to her. She just needs love. She just needs somebody to hear her and accept her. That's all she asking for. So I let her have that. I got you. And with time, my inner child calm down, because I be remembering like, oh, this is not me, this is her. I have started saying this all the time now. This isn't me, this is her. Same thing with the negative thoughts that I'll have. This isn't me, this is her. Like, I don't grab onto the thought and roll with it anymore. I don't grab onto the anxiety and roll with it. I don't grab onto the anxiety and try to suppress it, because that just makes my anxiety worse, honestly, every time I try. I'm not gonna run away from you. We here, we vibing. And I'm here for you. That's how I am with myself. And so now the last point I wanted to emphasize, love is love. This really helped me with limerence. Whether it's romantic, it's friendship, it's God, it's spirit, love is love. No love is more special than the other. No love is more on the pedestal. No matter what, I will be loved. Whether it be for myself, God, spirit. If no person was to ever love me again, I would still feel loved. Love is love. I don't see any love more important than the other. I don't feel like I'm lacking in love because I see love in all instances of my life. I'm not going to put romance on a pedestal anymore. As well as I had to realize, like, I don't have to have romance through a partner. I don't have to have romance through a man. I can have romance with myself. Romance is not limited to being with a person. I have romance within my friendships. I have deep romance within my friendships. Look up the definition of romance. I had to do that. Go to Webster and look at the multiple definitions. I was looking at that definition. I was like, yeah, I got romance in my life. I'm not lacking in romance. I just had to see that I wasn't lacking. I could touch myself, honey. But when push comes to shove, I always have me and I always have God. I always have me and I always have God. Romance, it is defined as the passion and adventure you share with a person. I have that with me. I have that with my best friend. I have that with God. I've experienced this with so many people. Like, I'm not lacking. I ain't never lacking in love. I ain't never lacking. The love will always be there whether I know it or not. I just have to see it for what it is. Sometimes you just gotta clear out your eyes, clear out your mind, and see love for what love is. See romance for what romance is. So yes, that was really how I ended up healing my limerence. I'm going to come out with a video about reparenting myself because that was a huge part of my journey. So I'll talk to y'all about that in whatever video that will be, okay? This video was real long-winded, but we are here. Before you go, make sure to check out the offers I have on my website. Link is in the description box. Link is in the eye that is up on the screen. I think it's over here. Make sure you all like, comment, subscribe, and share. Make sure to comment any of you all's experience with limerence, whether you're going through it or healing through it. Let me know. I offer inner child healing sessions on my site, so go ahead and check it out. I'm sending you all so much love. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.